Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Rising Tide Leadership Podcast. My name is Mo, and I'll be sitting in the host chair today because I have a very special guest, John Long, the co-founder of Thynk.AI, which is a company with a mission to make artificial intelligence practical, understandable, and accessible for business leaders. John's worked closely with organizations across a variety of industries, helping them to harness the power of AI to streamline operations, improve marketing and sales strategies, and most importantly, unlock leadership potential through data-driven decision making. So he's here to help us understand AI a little bit better today. I'm excited. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Mo. Great to be with you. Excited to be visiting with you and visiting with your listeners today.
Yeah, well, this is an exciting one for us because AI is kind of taking the world by storm, and we all need to understand, and especially leaders, we need to get in front of the trends. And this one seems to be a difficult one. So, John, why don't you start by telling my audience a little bit about you, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today?
Wow. Yeah. Happy to share. So, grew up in Colorado, live in Utah now, and have a wonderful family, four amazing kids, fantastic wife. That's the most important part, right? But career wise, business wise, I actually got started right out of college in entrepreneurial pursuits, real estate, did a little bit in the construction field. I did that for several years, had some great success, and then had some friends that were in the technology space, which is pretty big here in Utah. And I saw them having wonderful success even through the 2008 downturn and things. And I said, gosh, guys, how do I get into this? This is amazing. I want to get into technology. Long story short, had to have a really hard career pivot. Literally went from owning businesses, running businesses, to working in tech support at $12 an hour for a little while with a tech company that was willing to take a chance on a non-tech person. Right. But I picked it up really quickly. Within a few months, worked my way out of tech support and into sales, and have had a fantastic career in technology sales for the last 15 years or so. And then a little over a year ago, my business partner and I started building a technology company. And actually, it's funny because our focus was not on AI, and the way we landed with Thynk is a little bit of an interesting story. We actually were building a technology company. We thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could use this new AI stuff that's coming out to help with some of our pre-sales, meaning like the lead qualifying, nurturing, prospecting, appointment scheduling, those types of things. And I had previously worked with an AI company. It was a machine learning company. So I'd had some experience there. My business partner is a product guy. So together we started building a tool. Well, initially we didn't even start building a tool. We tried to find a tool we could buy. Just said, let's find something we can buy and use. And we looked and looked and looked, couldn't find anything. So we said, let's see if we can build something. And so we started building this tool. We built a tool. And once it was done, we were looking at it and we're like, hey, this is cooler than the business that we're running. Maybe we should pivot and just sell this. So
Yeah.
long story short, that's what happened. We literally had 10 other products. We pulled all of them off the table and said, we're going all in on this. And that's what we've been doing now for the past year.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. What inspired you to make AI more understandable, actionable for business leaders? Tell me about the product and the mindset shifts that have helped you to succeed in the mission that you are embarking on.
Yeah. So our product, we provide AI agents for businesses, and that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. So I'll give a little bit more detail. Our agents are communication agents. So they can call, they can text, they can email, they can hold meetings, they can manage calendars and schedule meetings.
Wow.
And so these agents act almost like an electronic employee, right? And where they can manage all of this customer communication. We've got customers that use it on the back end as a customer support agent. We've used them in HR to do interviews, first round interviews with people applying for jobs. So anything that deals with communication. And the way we got there is kind of interesting as well. So about 6 years ago, I was helping run a business we were actually flying airplanes over cities and taking these super high resolution pictures. And then we would take those images and we would feed those into an AI machine learning system and trained this system to recreate three-dimensional models of the buildings that we were flying over. And we had people that could do that. And it would take a person 2 or 3 hours to build one of these models. And as we trained the computers, now back then it took us years, literally, to train the computers to do this. But as we got them trained, they were able to build these models in a couple minutes. And so we went from, hours to minutes. And so I knew that there was something to AI, but I also always thought, I'm in sales, I'm on the customer facing side, go to market side of the business. No one's ever going to be able to replace me with AI because I'm so valuable, right? And I
Yeah.
had a realization about a year and a half ago that not only am I replaceable by AI, but AI probably would do a better job than I would do. And that was exciting and also a little bit scary, that realization. And I thought, you know what? We need to make sure that we are growing technology in a way that that protects people, not hurts people. We need to grow it in a way that it actually helps the people and instead of taking away from them. And so our approach has been to help empower people with AI, empower companies with AI. Don't get rid of your employees, but instead give your employees an Iron Man suit that they can put on and turn them into superheroes that can do 3 to 10 times the amount of work that they were able to do before, because you've empowered them with these AI tools. And so that's been our focus. That's been our goal. And we're seeing tremendous growth by helping people align with AI as opposed to fight against it.
So help me understand here a little bit better. You say AI agents. So if I was going to interview for your company, I would actually be talking on a Zoom call to an AI agent?
So yes, we do our first round of calls, or first round of interviews is a phone call. And so it'd be a phone call where the AI agent would interview you and ask you questions. And we actually got there on accident, not on accident. It was on purpose, but it was the result of not knowing what to do. And what happened is we were ready to hire some people. This is several months ago. And we said, hey, let's put an ad out and see if we can attract anybody. And we were thinking, we're going to attract like 10 people. Right. So we put an ad out and we had like 120 people apply in 48 hours. There
Gosh.
was no way for us to physically have a conversation with each person fast enough to keep up with the rate that people were applying. And so we pushed pause on the ad and said, okay, what are we going to do? We got 120 people here that are expecting something from us. And I've hired enough people, and you probably have too, to know that what you see on a resume isn't always what you get. Sometimes the resume is
Right.
a little bit, polished up and a little bit better than what you get. And other times people have just thrown the resume together, and the person behind the resume is 10 times better than the resume looks. Right. And so we said, well, we need to talk to these people, but we just don't have the time to do it. And so we literally overnight, we spun up an agent, trained it on how to do interviews, gave it the questions we wanted to ask. We actually had 3 different positions we were hiring for. So it was different questions for each position, created a little bit of a kind of a rubric, a grading system, a way to see if the people were qualified for the positions we were looking for. And then we turned the agent loose and said, contact all of these people, schedule interviews with them, hold the interviews, and then let us know what you find out. And so we did that. And so our agent reached out to all 120 people. Not all of them chose to interview, but I think it did like it was either 89 or 98, something like that, almost 100 interviews over the course of the next week. And it was very interesting because with AI, you can kind of meet people when they want, where they want, how they want, right? And we had people that were
Right.
interviewing at midnight. We literally had one person schedule their interview at midnight. They're like, that's when I'm available. No problem. The AI can do that, right?
Done.
And so we did that. We learned some things in our exuberance and in our speed. We forgot to tell the AI that after you've done one interview, you can stop. And so it started reaching out to everybody after it had done the first round interview. And they're like, awesome, we made it to the second round. And they jumped on
Man.
another interview with the AI with the same questions.
All of a
And they're
sudden
like,
they're
wait
hired
a
and you're like,
second,
did
I
I
think
just
I've
hire
already
this
had
guy?
this conversation.
That's
So,
good.
I mean, we've learned some things. We've done things wrong, right? But it worked great, and it helped us get through and give everyone a chance that wanted to, at least, to interview and to tell us about themselves and for us to learn about them. And there's people that we moved on to second round interviews and so forth that we wouldn't have if we had just judged off of resumes. And so I think
So
it was a better way of doing it.
I'm assuming that the people knew they were AI agents. Did that affect the way that they interviewed?
It's interesting because we get that question a lot. How do people respond when they're talking to AI? Is that weird? Of the roughly 100 interviews that we did, we had one person that was frustrated. And he sent us a note back and said something to the effect of, it's disrespectful that you wouldn't even talk to me. You're only having the AI talk to me. And then As we looked at it a little bit closer, he had applied for a sales position. He had never had a sales role in his life. He had been a back-end developer. We had no idea why he even applied. So it wasn't the right fit anyway, but he didn't like it. But overwhelmingly, those that went through that interview process said, this was awesome. This was so cool. For one, it gave them a chance to test our technology out before they ever came to work for us, right? Like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is our tech. This is what we're building. This is what you're going to be helping customers with. Experience it. Right. And so they loved that. And we tried in everything that we do, we tell everybody, we are our first customer. If it doesn't work for us, we're not going to try and sell something to you that's broken or that doesn't work or that's not
Yeah.
doing the job. And so it was an opportunity for us to be our own guinea pig and to prove our technology and say, hey, this actually works. We know it works because it worked for us. And it was a great way for our employees that we ended up hiring to come through and say, I've already experienced this. They had a story that they could share on day one about their experience interacting with our AI agent. And so they came in the door with experience, which was perfect and exactly what we wanted and needed.
That was really my next question is you've experienced all these stories now. Can you share a specific story or example where a leader used your AI technology effectively to streamline workflows or boost productivity?
Well, yes, we've got a number of them. I'll share a somewhat recent example. We've got a customer that's an e-commerce company, and they're a small company. I think they've got 10 or so employees. They've been around and in business for a little while, and they've built a fairly large list of potential customers to sell to. They reached out to us a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, we want to run a sale this weekend." This was on a Friday, 3:30 in the afternoon. They reached out and said, "Hey, we want to run a little sale. Is it possible for us to have our agent reach out to a few people via phone and via text to kind of spread the word that we're doing this sale?" And we said, yeah, sure, no problem. How many people do you want to reach out to? And there was kind of a pause, and they said, well, 20,000 or so. And, as you can imagine, a team of 10, for them to reach out to 20,000 people, it would take them a month of all 10 of them working and doing it full time, right? And we said, sure, no problem. A few hours later, we had reached out to 20,000 people by calls, by text. The agent was able to
Man.
handle it, no problem at all. It can do about 100 calls a minute. So, a few hours later, we'd reached out to everybody. And that customer had a $90,000 benefit, $90,000 in sales that weekend as a direct result of using the technology. Right. And so it allowed this small business to compete in ways that big businesses do, but without the overhead, without the number of people. It evened the playing field for them and allowed them to truly have remarkable success. They've come back to us now 2 more times and said, that worked so well. We want to do it again. Here's another list. Here's another list. And they continue to see those types of
Gosh.
people.
Yeah. So for a small business owner, like where do they start with this? When leaders start to use AI, they don't know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. And when I hear a story like that, that's overwhelming to me. What do you tell somebody who's doing small business?
So first of all, you're not alone. Right? You're not alone. And I think it's easy for us to sometimes think like everyone else is doing AI, but us. One of my colleagues was at a conference not too long ago for small businesses. And the conference was talking about AI, AI, AI. Finally, one of the speakers stood up and said, okay, I want anyone that's looking into AI, any of you business owners looking into AI, to go ahead and stand up. And virtually the entire room stood up, right? And he says, okay, now those of you that have actually implemented it, stay standing, everyone else sit down. And about 85% of the room, maybe 90%
Oh,
of the room, sat back down. So,
wow.
so you're not alone in thinking that you want to be in it, but not sure how. There's a natural progression that most people go through with AI. And many of us are in the middle of this progression right now, but we usually will log into something like a Chat GPT or a similar program. It might be Grok, it might be Claude, it might be Gemini, or one of these other large language models that are out there, and we'll do something kind of goofy in there, right? Like, I don't know, tell me a story about cats, or something like that, right? And it
Right.
produces something. We're like, oh well, that was actually pretty good. And then we start to play with it a little bit more, right? Try this, try that, try this, try that, and slowly we start to build a little bit of confidence in it, and we go, huh. I wonder if this could actually help me with something at work. And, next time you have a difficult email to write, you're like, I'm going to just try it. I'm going to try it and just see what it does. Write me an email about this, this, and this. And you go, well, holy smokes, that was actually pretty good. I'm going to copy that and paste it. And I might change a couple little things, but that was pretty good. Send, right? And what happens is we start to use it a little bit more and a little bit more. Our thinking starts to shift as we start to use AI more, which is why our company is called Thynk.AI, because as you use AI more, you literally look at the world with different lenses, right? Different way. But ultimately what happens is, you've got your business process and then you've got AI over here to the side. And what
Right.
happens is you're like business process, pause, AI, copy, paste, business process, right? And it's this like outside of process tool that we're using. And then over time, businesses go, okay, I've got to bring this in process. I've got to bring it in line. And that's when they'll reach out to a company like us and say, okay, help us to get, AI integrated into what we're doing so that it's not a pause everything, go and use AI, copy, paste, or whatever, but help us to literally bring it in line. And that's where many businesses are right now. They're using it, they're dabbling in it, they're testing it. It's outside of process, but find an AI company. And there's a bunch of us out there. We're all new, right? If you're looking for like the 10-year-old AI company, you're not going to find them. But there's
Right.
people that have been in AI for a few years, like I have, that know what they're doing. Find someone that you can trust and have them help you implement it, integrate it, and then go to town. There's a lot of tools out there that have started to integrate AI. I mean, even things like Gmail, all right? Every day it seems like there's a new little thing where they're like, hey, look, AI can do this now, right? And so there's little inroads
Yeah.
coming here and there. But true business focused AI, where it's tailored to your business, you're going to have to go out and find someone to help you bring that in, or you can do it yourself. A lot of these things, they're not overly difficult. You don't have to be a computer scientist to bring AI in house, but it's going to take a lot of time because you are going to have to learn about it, understand it, implement it. So it's probably faster and cheaper to bring someone in to do that.
So, when implementing AI into existing systems, what role does leadership play in helping the team embrace change? Because I can see a lot of people pushing back, like that one gentleman did who was interviewing and said, I don't think this is the right way to go. How do
Yeah.
leaders deal with that?
So first of all, I'll say this: most business leaders, most business owners mistakenly put AI in the technology bucket. They go to if they're a large enough organization, their chief technology officer or, whoever's over technology for the company. And they say, hey, can you help us figure out AI? And while AI is technology, it's actually more closely aligned with HR or operations than it is with
Wow.
technology. And so I actually encourage people to say, get your operations team to figure out what process they want to follow and where AI fits within that process and have them bring it in. That's a little bit less scary than technology team coming in and being like, we're taking over your jobs. The robots are coming, right?
That's right.
It should be treated more like a new software program, right? When a company rolls out a new CRM or a new process, that process comes through operations channels typically, where they figure out what the new process is going to be. They train people on the new process and they let them go. So first of all, get the right people leading the initiative. Technology is going to have a piece because it's got to get integrated, but have them support the operations as opposed to leading the operations. Secondly, is AI is coming. And those companies that say, well, we're not going to adopt. I mean, that's similar to companies back in the late 90s saying, well, the internet is here, but we're not going to set up a website. Businesses today would laugh at the thought of not having a website. Very, 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 very few businesses don't have websites. And in fact, most businesses actually come up with their business name by finding a website first and then naming the business after the website.
Yeah.
It is that focused. That's the type of role that AI is going to have. Whether we like it or not, it is coming. So, accepting that fact and learning how to use it and then adopting it is going to be far better than pushing back and saying, well, let's fight this thing. Learn how to use it, turn it into a tool, right? Back in the 1800s when they were chopping trees down with axes, I'm sure those folks were probably scared when a chainsaw came out. And they're like, holy smoke, this thing can like make a lot of noise and
Yeah.
chop trees down quickly, but I don't want to use that. No, they're going to use that because it's going to make them so much more efficient. And so, think of it like a tool that you can use to build efficiencies in your business. Again, we tell people, don't get rid of your people. Your people have domain expertise that is highly, highly valuable, but use AI to replace the time that they spend doing busy work with time spent doing better work, right? Save hundreds of hours a week by using AI, but then let your people go and succeed and thrust the business forward in great ways because they know it and they know how to do things that AI isn't going to be able to do for you. And instead of having a slight increase year over year, double or triple or 10x your business by using technology the right way. And AI is part of that tech.
John, I love where you're going with this. It doesn't matter what happens, people are always the most important. So let's talk about influence. How can AI tools help leaders make better decisions, especially when communicating effectively with their teams?
I'll use an example. This is not our tech, but a company that we're very familiar with. There's a company called Ask Elephant. They produce AI that it's like note takers that will join your Zoom meetings. We've all been on Zoom meetings, I think, now and seen those. They've
Yep.
got an AI component built into the back end of theirs where they're able to say, you know what? Let's have the AI look at every meeting that we've held across the organization for the last month, and let's see what are the questions that our top sales reps are asking. What are the questions that our bottom sales reps aren't asking? And now let's hold a one-on-one training with our sales reps and help give them actionable insight into what's working, what's not working, what they're doing, what others are doing.
Wow.
And so there's ways that you can use AI like that, right? If you're trying to enter a new market, you can become a near expert in that market overnight by using AI, right? AI knows the
Yeah.
market. Now, is it going to have every little nuance? Is it going to know every person? No, but you can up level your knowledge so quickly.
Right.
I regularly, when I'm getting ready to go to a meeting with someone, I'll jump on and have a quick conversation with ChatGPT about that customer. Say, hey, what can you tell me about XYZ customer? What do they do? How long have they been doing it? Who are the leaders in their business? What's going on in their industry right now? What are the challenges that the industry is facing? And now I get on the phone with that customer, and my 3 or 5 minute conversation makes me look like an industry vet, right? And
Yeah.
and they feel like, man, this guy gets us. He knows what we're dealing with here. Let's work with them.
Yeah.
And so those are a few ways that you can use AI to really up level your communications and your work with your teams.
John, I'm getting way too fired up here. That's just the kind of guy I am. I hear this and I'm like, I got to move now. I got to do it now. And so you talk about mistakes with AI adoption. What are maybe a couple of missteps that leaders should watch out for when implementing this, especially somebody like me who is a novice at this kind of stuff?
Great question. So the first thing you do need to be careful with, just like hiring a brand new employee, AI is going to make mistakes. And so we call them hallucinations in the AI world, where AI makes things up. It says things that aren't true. And so there's some things that you can do to watch for that. If you're using like a chat GPT, ask the same question 2 or 3 different ways. Ask the AI to cite its references. Where did you get this information? Help me understand where you've gained this knowledge, to make sure that it's not literally just making things up, because it can and will do that. Using multiple tools, right? Chat GPT, Gemini, right? So there's a number of different tools. Ask them all the same questions and see what kind of responses you get. And those are all important things. I think it's also important to recognize that, we tell our customers this: when we're setting up a brand new AI agent for you, we're going to train it. We spend about a week training your agent, teaching it about your business, what you do, how you work, how to answer questions, what terminology is used in your particular industry. But even with a week's worth of training, we're going to miss some things. And just like hiring a
Yeah.
brand new employee, the first few phone calls that they're on are going to be a wreck, right? It's going to be a train wreck. It's not going to go well. We try to do a little bit better than train wreck status, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I think we hit a little higher than that, but recognize that this is something that is a learning and growing tool. The more feedback that you give it, the more experiences that you give it, the better it's going to become. And so just like that brand new employee, have a little bit of patience and recognize that today is the worst it's ever going to be. And tomorrow's going to be
Wow.
better. And the
Yeah.
day after that's going to be better. And the day after that's going to be better. And as you invest a little bit of time and attention in that technology and in that tool, it will give you an absolutely incredible return on investment. It will literally quickly get to the point where it starts teaching you how to be better instead of you teaching it how to be better.
You know, John, as a child of the '80s and '90s, all the way up to through Terminator, Terminator 2,
Yep.
Skynet is aware. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here. So, how do you personally stay grounded and lead your team at Thynk.AI in an industry that's constantly evolving? As you said, today is the worst it's ever going to be. How do you do that?
We do a couple of things. One, we actually produce an AI podcast ourselves. I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about a podcast on a podcast?
Absolutely. Yeah, please do.
So we produce an AI podcast each week where literally the whole thing is AI, the voices, everything. We started producing it internally, and it's an AI podcast about AI. It's about the world of AI, what's happening in the world of AI. And we've got a tool that goes out and finds all of the news that's happened that week, aggregates it, and then produces a podcast with two hosts visiting back and forth. And so we listen to that.
Wow.
It's kind of like required listening for everybody here, where it's something where we want to stay up to speed because things are changing so quickly. So I pay a lot of attention to that. We are our first customer. And so
Yeah.
we test everything first on ourselves. And if it works for us, then we know it's going to work for others. And then we roll it out. So we try to make sure that we're not relying on our customers to be the guinea pigs. And then we also just recognize that the world is changing. And the way that we did something yesterday may not be the best way to do it today. And the way that we're doing things today will certainly are not going to be the best way to do it next week. And so we try to be very open to learn, to grow, to adapt, and recognize that there's a lot of smart people out there, a lot of smart technology out there that are doing amazing things. And so we try to stay on the cutting edge and use it, test it. And if it works, then share it with others.
And what's the name of that podcast, John?
Gosh, I should know the name of our own podcast. I think it's called Thynk.AI, the AI industry podcast. So
Okay,
it's Think with a
cool.
Y, Thynk. That's how we spell our company name. But yeah, Thynk.AI podcast, and you should be able to.
John, what are some leadership values, principles that have anchored you through the different seasons of growth and change in your own life?
So, and this almost sounds a bit cliche because I think almost everybody will start with this one, but integrity has to be number one. Right. As a leader, you need to do what you say you're going to do. And I think it's perfectly acceptable to expect that others do the same. I extend a lot of faith and trust in my team unless they do something to violate that trust. Right. And so, and they should be able to expect the same out of me. I try to be very transparent. There are certain things in business that you're not going to, be transparent about, but as much as I can, I try to be transparent with my team, minimize the surprises, take care of problems early. I have a good friend, and he used to always say the best time to kill a monster is when it's a baby, right? And so if there are problems, if there's things that are out, not quite lining up like they should, take care of them. Take care of them quickly, and then you don't have to worry about it growing into something bigger. So I would say those are a few of the things that are important. I think it's also important as a leader to always be learning. Recognize that you are not the smartest person in the room,
Yeah.
and consistently be learning from your team, from others, and then cross sharing the things that you're learning with each other, because as a leader, I'm only as good as my team. And so if there's things that I can do to empower my team, we do a weekly company meeting. It's our entire company. And the leadership team takes a turn each week. And we do about a 20 to 30 minute training on something that we've been learning about as a leader, and constantly trying to train our entire company, great ways. And reading books, listening to books, learning things from podcasts from others are key, and then sharing that as quickly as possible.
John, at the end of my podcast, I usually give most final thoughts, but when I have guests on, I throw that question to them. So here's my question for you. What's one bold prediction that you have about the future of leadership and AI?
One bold prediction about the future of leadership and AI. Leaders need to understand AI. They need to understand what it does, how it works, because leaders will very, very soon not only be leading people, but they will be leading AI. And we
Wow.
need people that understand the technology, that understand how it works. And when I say how it works, not necessarily like the ones and zeros of the code behind the scenes, but understand the general premise behind what AI is doing and how it's doing that. And as you learn that, like I mentioned earlier, your thinking will shift and you will begin to approach problems, challenges, opportunities differently. And as a leader in today and in the near future, if you don't have that skill, you will be replaced by someone who does. And so it's absolutely imperative for our leaders to understand that they will be leading people, but they will also be leading artificial intelligence of one sort or another. And you need to understand how to help those two worlds mesh and how to lead in both worlds.
John, where can my audience find you? How can they connect with you? How can they learn about your company and what you do?
Yeah, so happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. You can find me easily there, but you can also find us at our website, Thynk.AI. And again, that's THYNK.AI. It's our website. We'd love to have people join us there. They can actually go to our website and there's a button they can click on, and they can have our AI agent give them a call. It'll call them, text them, email them, have a conversation with them and talk to them a little bit about what we do. So give that a try. It's a great way to test it out.
Oh man, I'm going to do that for sure. I look forward to that. So you're going to be like, who's this guy Mo that just called in?
I'll be watching for it. That'll be good.
I'm going to put him to the test. I'm going to go for it. Which, by the way, when you're talking about salespeople liking the AI interaction with the agent, of course, salespeople do that because the best salespeople, they can talk to anybody.
Test out our AI agent. His name is Eric. We talk about him like he's a human, but he's not. Go and have a conversation with Eric and literally like throw curveballs at him, yell at him, be insistent
Okay.
on certain things and see how he handles it. And you'll see it's masterful the way that these agents are able to interact with people.
Awesome. And of course, you guys record all these so that you can take that data and learn, correct?
Correct.
Oh, man, that's great. I'm doing it. I'm excited. And my audience, you need to go do it too, if anything, just to talk to an AI agent. So, well, that's it for us today. Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the podcast, share it with a friend, a teammate, and don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter. We give you the good stuff every month. John, it has been a pleasure, my friend, and I hope to have you on soon.
Let's do it. I'd love to.
All right. Have a great day, brother.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.